great to be here. The lights are blinding, I can't see many of you, but I think I know where you're seated, and I'll trust my memory. It's great to be here. Thank you, Money Today, for the opportunity to meet friends from several years ago, people much younger than me, but who I believe I can still count as friends. In about a month's time, it would be 7 years since I laid down office as chairman of Sebi. And so when I'm invited for functions like this, I often wonder, why me? There must be several others who are more relevant to present times, who have kept abreast of changes in the financial sector, whose contributions are far more relevant than mine has ever been. And then I tell myself that you get these opportunities because until now, you haven't learned enough, and therefore you come to fora like this because you're still on the learning curve and you hope to take away something at the end of each of these functions. Thank you, Ranjit, for that extraordinary presentation of the financial sector. I don't exaggerate when I say that for me, part of it was enlightening, part of it was encouraging, because I remember being with you, Sailesh Bhai, and a few others when you started out the FPSB and I was at your first event. I did not think that a few years down the line you would be mentioning numbers like these, of several lakhs of people that have already got the gold standard qualifications, of several others that are enlisted. Even though in terms of India's requirements, it's a long way to go, these are small numbers. But you've covered significant ground over the last several years, and I dare say that if you keep going at this pace, you would have got closer to solving the mother problem that exists in the financial sector, which is creating a body of informed investors who know what they're doing with their money. Most of the people that invest money don't understand what they're doing with their money, except for few who live in metropolitan India, in urban India, have access to publications like Money Today, read before they write out their checks. There are several others who don't understand what the asset class is, don't understand what the possible downsides are, don't understand the risk that is attached to that investment or that asset class, and yet make that investment because somebody told them. Some product pusher masquerading as an advisor told them that this is where they should park their money. Several people have come to grief. And as a result of that, long before 2008, before the financial sector worldwide took a knock, a legitimate, a well-deserved knock on its reputation, several persons in India had contributed to ensuring that there was an element of distrust between those that had investable surpluses and those that claimed that they had the products that were relevant to those investors. Because to my mind, notwithstanding all the characteristics that have been explained as what constitutes a good person in the area of finance, I believe relevance is critical. You are going to deal with someone else's money at the end of the day, and you have to necessarily come up with a product that is relevant to that person's income level, that person's context, that person's requirements of liquidity, requirements of safety, requirements of returns. Because if you don't have that, you are no different from the person who is pushing products. And I think even as you have products to push, it's useful to remember that placed as you are, you must impart investor education even as you push your wares. One of the easiest questions that I've been asked, and I can assure you that I've been asked a lot of difficult questions that I have ducked on occasion. One of the easiest questions that I was asked when I was still in service was, where do you invest your money? And the answer was very simple, that the government of India's pay scales ensured that you did not have to take a decision on where you invested your money because you didn't have money to invest in any case. After I superannuated, retirement is a bad word because I still work. After I superannuated, I started earning a little money. And then when I started reading magazines to look at where I ought to invest, I was told, at your age, you must park it in the bank because you should not be having a risk appetite given your age. So I am one of those that are not financially included in the scheme of things that most of you administer. Am I fighting for that kind of financial inclusion? No. But I still like to be kept informed, kept enlightened, which is why I am here. I think the financial sector has done a lot of good to this country. It has also done reasonable harm to this country. It's not as if it is a completely blameless participant in what might have gone wrong with this nation in non-fulfillment of its potential. Because somewhere along the way, excessive financialization has contributed to a lot of negativity. And I think the collective wisdom that is available in this hall should address the issue of what this country needs at this time to be a productive force, to measure up to potential, to demonstrate that we can produce as well as distribute, that we can ensure that we carry the less fortunate brethren of ours also on the journey towards progress and prosperity. That is a responsibility that devolves on this sector more than any other. And that is why it is important when you make announcements of prosperity round the corner for people that write out checks for your products, to assure them that there is someone who is going to walk that talk. There is someone in the organization responsible for the ownership of the promise and for delivery of whatever was promised. If that doesn't happen, I think as you progress in terms of numbers, and I am a non-quantitative man, as you progress in terms of numbers, you will find issues of reputation, issues of credibility, issues of integrity will catch up. And we've seen this in other markets which claim to be developed. Countries that claim to be developed have had bigger problems than ours. Are those problems deriving from taking shortcuts, acting in a manner not consistent with laws, rules and regulations? Are these necessary ingredients of development? In that case, I think we could do without development. What is important is to see what others have done legitimately, take those lessons, incorporate it in what we do, and ensure that all the mistakes that they have made are not the ones that you repeat. Because experience is not the name you give to your own mistakes. It's also the name you give to the mistakes of other people. I want to share something with you. Some years ago, when I was still a working man, as they say, I was at a post-lunch event, and I can tell you post-lunch events are difficult, just like pre-award speeches are difficult. When there are people waiting actually to receive awards and wondering, when is this guy going to finish so that we can lay our hands on the awards that we worked for so long? So I was at one of these post-lunch events, and along with me was a gentleman called John Thain, then from the New York Stock Exchange, who went on to head Merrill Lynch and then went into oblivion. Someone asked during Q&A time, and Q&A is often the most interesting part of any event, asked me, is it true that you blindly copy whatever is done in the United States? And my honest answer was, and it's an answer that I'm proud of, an answer that I recommend to you. My honest answer was no, we don't copy blindly, we copy with open eyes. Because it's useful. There is merit in what others do. But let us take that merit. This is the time, this is the window of opportunity for India. If we don't take advantage of this, we would have let not just an opportunity pass by, but we would have committed the cardinal sin of not being able to measure up when it was our chance and no one else's. And that is where we are poised at this point of time. All I want to say is that I'm delighted to be giving away awards, because there is a stage in life when people stop giving you awards and then they invite you to give away awards. Like Shakespeare said about the quality of mercy, it blesseth him that gives and him that receives. So awards are like that. As you hold the award to give it to somebody, you feel in some sense that you're partaking of that award, which is why I accept with alacrity all such invitations to give away awards. My thoughts are with those that didn't make the cut. My thoughts are with those that missed out on the awards. And considering that the process has been spelt out and that you cannot get a jury more distinguished than this, I don't say that because many of them are my personal friends. That is not their claim to fame. But they are distinguished people and I'm privileged to know them. A jury like this, on objective considerations, awarding a set of persons means that those that didn't make the cut must have missed out on something here. And it's useful to reflect on where they might have not failed, not underperformed, but emerged second best. In award functions, unfortunately, like in war and in love, there is no runners-up. So while some people collect the awards, while some people celebrate, the rest of you, I imagine, who haven't won awards this time, will start visualizing their names being on the award next year, and then living that dream of moving towards being on the awardees list next year. I was also interested to hear from Ranjit that you're planning to take this award global in the not too distant future. That perhaps is what might set this award apart from several others. There are any number of people that give away awards. I've been a part of juries. I've had to look at processes, not in the financial sector, but in health and education and in several others, CSR. And I can tell you that what I look at is the process. What I look at is the methodology that identifies the winners from among a large universe. I was quite impressed by what I saw. And I believe that process, that methodology, the composition of the jury, and your own performance is what you can legitimately celebrate and rejoice in, remembering that there's another bunch of guys that might have just missed the cut and might make it next time round. I wish you well, and through you, I wish those that write out the checks to you well, because in your hands lies their future. It is their money today, in a sense, that you are taking. It is their money tomorrow that you are promising. And please ensure that money tomorrow is better than money today. Thank you very much.